You are watching Talking About. I'm John Griffith.
I'm Cara Kilduff.
And we are joined by a familiar face. He's been here once or twice before. Scott Kramer, welcome.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
And you always have so much going on. You work as you're a professional therapist.
Yep, I'm a psychotherapist, and I see individuals, groups, and couples. And also, I will be soon facilitating a group at CBST, the Gay Synagogue, regarding aging and AIDS. So that'll be an open group, and it'll be every Tuesday from 7:30 to 9, and it starts next Tuesday.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's open to all faiths.
Open to all faiths, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because people might get the wrong idea by
Right,
the location.
exactly.
So
Yeah, anybody can come. It's not just for the congregants.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
How did you set that up?
Through a series of referrals. And it was happening, and I saw it. I was excited about it. I wanted to help the community. And how could I say no to something like that? It's
That's
just so important.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
You do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, you do.
I try.
And a lot of stuff that's specific to the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's always
And
what
we
I
have
want to
issues.
do. Well, everyone has issues.
Yeah.
And so we really like to think about how we can help the most people, right? And so what that means is I don't want to narrow myself or narrow the community into thinking it's just about this or it's just about that, because people have a wide range of issues for a wide variety of reasons. And so somebody could come and start seeing me to talk about relationships, for example. But then actually it turns into a self-esteem issue, right? And so then we go over that and see what we can do to help them live a happy and successful life.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just anything you can do to help someone to feel better about themselves, because I know, until I really learned how to care about myself and to feel good about who I am and who I want to be, I couldn't really open myself up to other people and form significant relationships, and that's just something that hopefully has made me a better me. And I think that's what everybody should strive to be, is just the best version of themselves.
Absolutely, and whatever that means for them, right? So for you it might mean one thing, for you it might mean another, and for me it might mean another. So I'm not there to judge anyone or the way anyone's living. We all make our own decisions, but I might be able to help provide options. And maybe I can see things in a different way because I'm not in it. And I can tell the client that. And then the client might say, oh, maybe I can try it that way. Or I never thought about that before. And then they could maybe make a change in their relationships, their behavior, their thoughts and feelings. And it really works. It's kind of amazing.
It really does.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the reasons that I became interested in doing psychotherapy is from a group that I went to in 1995 when I was diagnosed with AIDS. And it was young, gay, and HIV positive. And that group was once a week, and it really, really saved my life because it gave me community. And it made me feel like I was not the only one dealing with this issue. And so I met people, I interacted with people, all different kinds of people, and that's the beauty of community, is that I could see all this different stuff that people were going through at the time. And I met one person there who is now in my group that I facilitate every other Tuesday. So that's really, really cool.
So it's a full circle for the two of you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and you know, everyone has and needs their supports, whether that is biological family, chosen family, community. And just to give a shout out to two of my supports. Yeah?
Yeah.
So shout out to Rex and shout out to Max. Thanks, guys.
yeah, because there is the family you're born into, and there's the family that you make, and sometimes the family that you make is stronger than the family that you were born into, especially, and I think that has a significant bearing on our community, possibly a little bit more than some others.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The chosen family is so incredibly important. And like Chauncey was talking about before, he's doing the AIDS walk on Sunday, among many other things that he's doing. I don't know where he finds the energy. I just turned 50, and I'm thinking and hearing about all the stuff that he's doing, and the yelper who wants the sound turned up. And I'm like, I want the sound turned down. It's too loud in clubs now. But the AIDS Walk is such a beautiful and wonderful community. And I was just telling a friend this weekend about my first AIDS Walk, which is also in 1995. And that walk was so important to me because what I felt was 40,000 people walking with me, holding me up and saying, it's going to be okay and we care about you. And then we walked. And so I've been doing it every year since, and I'm doing it this year as well. And I'll be walking with the Candy Wrappers team, which is an awesome team. Although I still have my own team of one, Invincible, the Pat Benatar team.
Okay.
Strong and mighty. But no matter what team you walk with, or if you don't walk with a team, AIDS Walk is really important.
Yes, because it's a manageable condition for the most part these days, but it is still potentially a life and death medical issue for many. It's not what it was in 1995.
Correct.
But people are still dying.
People are still dying, and there is such a huge stigma. And also, in order to have these wonderful medications that people have, people need access to that. So there's not always insurance available. The medications are extremely expensive. There's no generics. They keep changing them and changing them. And so the access is an issue, but the medications these days are really good. And I feel like the stigma, like I was talking about before, is still so huge. I see one very young client in his early 20s, and he was diagnosed about 6 months ago. And he goes through his ups and downs, but the main issue is, I don't want to tell anybody. I'm scared to tell people because they're going to reject me. And that's a horrible thing for someone who's in their early 20s to have to live with and go through, because nowadays, people living with HIV can live a normal lifespan.
That's so crazy to me that it's like, over 20 years. I mean, I remember the first friend that told me that he was positive, and that was well over 20 years ago. And to hear you say that now, this young person is saying, I don't want to tell anybody. That makes me feel like, so much work has been done already, but that right there, it's like, but it's still not enough.
Right.
You know?
Thankfully, he's reaching out and getting some guidance through it.
Yes, he's wonderful. He's such a great young person, and I'm hoping that he's able to walk with us on Sunday as part of Team Candy Wrappers, because I think that would be, it reminds me of when I was younger and my first AIDS walk. And so I'm hoping that can be for him what that was for me. And also, speaking of HIV, their PrEP, right, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is a daily medication people can take in order to prevent HIV transmission, was just approved today for adolescents, which is great, right? So that means that young people have access to PrEP, this medication, and they don't have to maybe worry about HIV infection.
Right.
They can take care of their own sexual health, which is huge.
It's because people, when PrEP first came into the light, people looked at it as permission to be okay. You're gonna hoe around because of this, and that's not the case. You're gonna hoe around regardless whether you're on it or not, if that's what you want to do. But this gives you control over your own sexual health. It's an educated decision that you can make to protect yourself and your partners, because I think, in my opinion, the people who are infecting the most people are the people who do not get tested and are unaware that they're positive.
It's true, because people who don't know their status, and if they are newly infected, they are the most infectious because they have virus that is in their bodies unchecked and reproducing really fast. So if we can get everyone tested and know their status and get on medications and get their viral load down to undetectable levels, then it's been shown by the U=U campaign and also by the CDC that they can't transmit HIV.
Right.
So if you
So
have
undetectable is untransmittable.
undetectable is untransmittable. So let's say there's a couple, and one is HIV negative and one is HIV positive. So the HIV positive person takes their medications, they get down to undetectable levels, they stay that way for 6 months or more, they're uninfectious. Let's say the HIV negative person then decides he wants to take PrEP, just in case. So they're protected in 2 ways.
Right.
And it's just a great way to go. It really, really is. Everyone needs to make their own decision,
Right.
but that's one
And when you
option.
do it under the guidance of your physician, because while side effects are few and far between these days, there may well be, at least in the first year or so, you want to monitor all your vitals and make sure that everything is okay and you're reacting to it well.
That's exactly
I
right.
have a question.
Yeah.
That now that PrEP has been approved for adolescents, like, what is the procedure for them to for access? Like, is that? I mean, do their parents have to know?
Right.
Can they go ahead and get that without their parents' knowledge?
So it just came out today, so I haven't been able to read all the
Oh,
details.
that's right, you did say that, yeah.
But that's okay. I'm thinking that it is like any other sexual health issue. So when someone goes to the doctor, an adolescent, and wants to get treated for an STI or wants birth control, then the parents don't need to know, and they can get what they need.
Right.
So this is, I hope, it's included in sexual health for adolescents, and so I hope that they don't have to get their parents' permission.
Okay. Do you know if there are copay coupons available out there? Because that can be
Yes.
the factor that alerts the parents is, if they end up having to pay a $200 copay for the supply.
Yes, and that navigation can be a little confusing, especially for adolescents that haven't had to deal with insurance and
Right.
copays and coupons and things like that. So I'm not exactly sure how that works, but anybody who wants PrEP can get a copay assistance card, and you just need to look that up online. And you get the card. It works in conjunction with your insurance. It's a certain dollar amount each year, and it renews every 12 months. And it can get your cost of PrEP down to 0. So it's free.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's such it's a safety issue.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to talk about one thing, there was a person that was referred to me, and he lives in the UK.
Okay.
And he's newly diagnosed, and this is like a Facebook friend that I don't know very well, said, hey, there's someone that's newly diagnosed, can you help? So we were texting back and forth over Facebook, and he was having a really, really rough time with his meds, and then we were doing like videos back and forth, and it was so, so hard for him. And that started about a month ago, and he was just feeling really crappy. Like, I haven't actually heard of these specific side effects before, but now he's doing so much better. His liver enzymes are coming down, his viral load is coming down. It's not undetectable yet, so he's not too happy about that, but it's on its way, and his T cells are high. So for anyone who is newly diagnosed or test positive, if you're having some issues, you can certainly contact me or give me a call or shoot me a message on Facebook, whatever works, because things can get better, even if they're rough at the
There's
beginning.
resources available
Yes.
if you are diagnosed. There's
Most
so many.
definitely, Most definitely. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is in the community, what I see most, okay, in my practice. And I feel like what I see most, the all-encompassing word that I can think of is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of body issues. I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too hairy, I'm too smooth. I mean, pick one, right? Fear of I don't make enough money, fear of I don't have enough hair, fear of I don't like the right music, I don't live in the right place.
Right.
And so these types of issues really prevent people from moving forward, right? So many people are terrified to go up to other people in bars, even in restaurants, even on the street, and say hello. They just can't do it.
You know why?
That too. But more so, I feel, is just being rejected, the fear of rejection. That person doesn't want to talk to me because any of the issues I just said.
Which is funny because the person thinking that, and you already know this, is creating this scenario. They're creating a story. They're creating something that doesn't even exist.
It doesn't. It's all up here.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can change that thinking, and we can get rid
absolutely.
of the fear, right? With the right support system, with the right person to talk to, it's so huge. So if anyone has any fear about anything, call me.
And even just the understanding that other people have the same or parallel fears can be a relief. I had a discussion with a former coworker of mine. Just it's like one day I was just talking. It's like this, this specific thing. This terrifies the hell out of me.
Yes.
It's like you too, and it made us both feel better.
Exactly. That brings up another point. So there's a wonderful AIDS activist. His name is Sean McKenna. And he posted this on Facebook, so I feel comfortable saying it. He just came out on Facebook as having HPV. And he's had it for a while, and he's had surgeries and stuff. And you look at the comments, oh, I'm so glad you said this. I have this too. Oh, I'm so glad you said this. But guess what? There's a vaccine. Oh, I have it too. I went through this. I went through that. And if we can feel comfortable in ourselves and in our own skin and what's going on in our bodies, and we can say that out loud, first of all, it normalizes things for us.
Right.
And also it helps so many other people who might be going through the same thing.
Yes.
It's incredible.
You can't, living in the shadows and in the dark is just, and nothing grows in the dark except
Nothing
mushrooms.
does.
Yeah.
But that's for people that'll be nitpicky. But I mean, you open the door and you shine. What happens when you open the door into a dark room and the light? And that resonates with me that people are so full of fear.
Yeah, yeah. It holds them back. It really does. From friendships, from relationships, even from family.
Yes.
So I run my HIV group, and there are some people in there in their 50s that don't want to tell their parents that they're living with HIV because either it's not the right time or they won't be able to handle it or whatever the reasons are. And they're very personal and they're real.
Right.
So I don't want to minimize it. But it's living a double life.
Yes.
You know?
A long time ago, I had a guest on the show who ran a social group for HIV positive people. And he came on the show. He sat down with me for a half an hour talking about it, but his father found out about his status by watching the show. I saw you on TV tonight was how the discussion started between him and his father. So he was comfortable enough to come on the show and talk about it on TV and on the internet and run the social group, but he wasn't comfortable enough about it to talk to his own family.
Yeah, yeah. That happens a lot.
And sometimes I think blood family is surprising. You kind of think, it's going to not be well received, but sometimes people can surprise you.
They can. Depending on their relationship, like I know my mom has always been a huge support to me. Every single thing, and sometimes I do things that are like a little off the wall, but she is always there for me. I can tell her anything and everything that's going on, and she'll always just first make sure I'm safe, and then make sure I'm happy.
Okay.
And that's it. So I get to tell her everything, and I get to have that kind of relationship with my own mom, who's 84.
That's so
And
cool.
she is so freaking cool.
Can we have her come on the show with you?
We can.
Okay,
I don't know that she'd be able to get up on these big chairs.
Well, then
We'll
we'll use the lower chairs for that.
We'll get something. We'll
Perfect.
get something else.
Yeah, my mom's pretty awesome. She
Okay,
would love
that would be
this.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And where can people find out more about you?
Oh, people can find out more about me at scottakramer.com. That's Kramer with a K.
You know what? You're like, in my mind, you're a pillar of the community, and not like,
Thank
oh,
you.
pillar, but you are a literal pillar holding part of the community up.
Thank you.
And I love that about you.
Yeah.
And I also love running into you in elevators.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
We have the best elevator rides.
Well, there's always a seat open for you. All you have to do
Thank
is ask,
you.
and I'm glad that you made the time to come out on this rainy night for
Always,
us. And-
always. Anytime I'm here.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we have another song from the Paper
I
Fields
likes
coming
it.
up. Yeah. So the new album is Glitter and Sawdust, and here's another little bit of that.
My favorite color has always been periwinkle. It's brought on accusations that I twinkle bright. Sibilant acids hit my teeth. I'm drawing patterns in the sawdust at my feet. We're feeling gender party games. They'll be confused when you explain why you wear that dress. 'Cause boys don't wear dresses. Boys make messes and they call each other names. Blue wasn't me, pink was too obvious. I was something more in between. But fitting in is always best when you're living in a one-stoplight town in the Midwest. Revealing gender party games. They'll be confused when you explain why you wear that dress. 'Cause boys don't wear dresses. Boys make messes and they call each other names. Stones and sticks and politics. The Christian hypocrites just need someone to blame for all their messes and their sons in dresses. Oh, the queen's begun to flame. 'Cause boys don't wear dresses. Boys make messes and they learn to play the game. My favorite color has always been pale.